when you're next to me. I feel like you were gone. It's all the things you never show. They're all the things I want to know.
Hello magical sparks and welcome back to my channel. It's Sparkle and today we are going to be unboxing some brand new art supplies. So let's get started. I don't know about you, but I am so excited because we've got not just one, but two marker sets to try out today, which means double the fun! And now let's start it off with the Ohuhu Nahuku acrylic markers. So in this marker set, we have 24 brush tip markers and we can see the colors on the back. And opening it up, we have an adorable chameleon drawing on the front. And on the inside, well, we get a couple of things there as well. Starting off with not just one, but two swatch cards, one in white and one in black, so we can really test out and see how these markers work. We also get a printed swatch card, which is definitely very handy. And finally, we get a user manual with instructions, safety precautions, and notes. And after all that, I present to you the markers. That was pretty cool. And now let's see how these markers look close up. So over here we've got the Ohuhu logo. We have also got a display of the amount of ink left inside the marker, which is pretty handy. We've also got the color code and just simple instructions, which is basically just shaking your marker and enjoying it. Also, the cap does fit on the back, which is amazing. And here's how the marker looks. It's got a nice brush tip shape, but we'll be putting it to the test a little bit later. But for now, that's what we've got. These markers are looking pretty cool. And the next thing I want to do is test out the colors that we get in the set by swatching them. So let's get straight into it. I've got my swatch cards ready, and the next thing to do is to prepare my markers, which is as simple as literally just shaking them, and that's it. They are ready to be used. Gotta love the quick process. And voila! Here are all the colors that we get in this set. I have to say I love the way these markers work on black paper. They showed up really well, and also I'm loving the color variety, especially the amount of different variations in pinks and greens and blues and purples. I can't help but love it. And also, considering that this set only has 24 colors, I am quite satisfied with the range of colors that I got. And now let's test out our second marker set, which is the one that I'm most excited for because this one is a little bit different than anything I've ever seen before. So this is the Ohuhu acrylic paint marker set consisting of 24 colors and markers that have fine nibs and broad nibs. Now you might be wondering why this is so big considering it's just 24 colors. That's because even though there are 24 colors, there's actually 48 markers. But more on that later. Inside the set, we get two swatch cards to color in, one printed swatch card, and one user manual. And after all that, look, these are the markers and this is what I mean. So on the inside, as you can see, we've got 24 colors, but 48 markers, half of them with fine nibs and half of them with round nibs, which is so cool. I have never seen anything like this before, at least not in the same set. So of course, let's have a closer look at both of them. First up, here are the fine nib markers. They look pretty cool, and if you look on the side, you can see how much ink is in the marker, which is 4 ml. And the nib is also really nice. It comes to a nice fine point, which is perfect for small details and just doodling in general. And for anyone who's wondering, yes, the cap does very successfully fit on the back of the marker. And now next up we have our broad tip markers. Here it is. It looks essentially the same as the fine tip marker, except this one holds a little more ink than the other one. And on the inside, it comes to a nice round tip, as is mentioned, and the cap does fit on the back of this marker as well. And now here is a side-by-side comparison of how these markers look next to each other. And now let's try to activate a marker together. So I looked at the instructions on the user manual and on the side of the marker and just kind of followed it step by step. So the first thing I did was I completely shook the pen up and down until I heard the sound inside. And then I began to slowly press it down on the paper, holding it for about 5 seconds each time. And I did that a couple of times and boom, the ink started flowing out. It was nice, quick, easy, and honestly kinda satisfying. So, all bonuses. And here is how the gold marker looks. I love this marker because it's metallic and it looks absolutely gorgeous when you use the flashlight on it. Cause just look at that, is it not stunning? And for the fine tip marker, it was essentially the same process and also equally as satisfying because this marker also looked absolutely stunning, especially with the flash on, because look at it, is that not completely and totally mesmerizing and absolutely gorgeous? And with that, let's segue into something even more satisfying, the swatching process. One of my favorite things about acrylic markers is just how forgiving the medium is, because let's say you make a mistake. For example, I made a mistake by swatching the wrong green color in the place of green. All I had to do was just kind of dab off as much of the color as I could and just go over it with the actual green marker and boom, problem fixed. And here are our completed swatch cards. What do you think? I definitely am a big fan of both metallic colors. I also love how well the markers layered on black paper because they look really opaque, which definitely is really useful, especially if you're drawing on darker surfaces. And also, I just love the way both these nibs worked. As you can see, they were both amazing and super satisfying to swatch with. And now moving on, I used these markers to fill in a couple of pages in my sketchbook and to cover up some alcohol marker bleed through, and they worked really well, and also they were super fun to use. But now I feel ready to make a full, completed, detailed illustration, so let's go ahead and do that in my mixed media sketchbook. Also, both these products were sent to me for free from Ohuhu to test out, and I just want to send out a very big thank you to them. And also, they have given me a special coupon code to share with you all. So the code is ArtistSparkle10, as you can see on the screen, and this code offers a special 10% discount that can be used on all products on the Ohuhu website. It will be valid from the 18th of February and will last for 6 months. So of course, feel free to use this code and enjoy the discounts. And if you'd like to learn more about the markers that we used in today's video or just check them out, I will be adding some links in the description of this video, which you can check out if you would like to. Once again, thank you so much to Ohuhu. And now we're going to be talking more about the markers and my thoughts on them just as soon as we start the coloring process. But for now, let's talk about this drawing. So for today's drawing, I wanted it to be something that starts off basic but ends up being a little bit deceptive, because what I was going for was a sketch that looked so simple that it basically just made you wonder, like, what's so special about this drawing? And then I wanted to do some coloring that makes you go, whoa, like, how did that sketch turn into this detailed drawing? So what I did was I just did a super simple sketch, nothing too fancy, simple expressions, simple pose, simple hairstyles, simple outfit, nothing out of the ordinary. But as I did the coloring, I tried out a bunch of different techniques to add some detail, texture, and some spice, and I love how the final drawing turned out, and I cannot wait for you to see it as well. Now, from before I even began this drawing, I had one thing that I knew for certain was gonna happen, and that one thing was that I was going to give this character an outfit that had triangular patterns on the fabric. And it's such a random idea, it doesn't make any sense, but it was an idea that popped into my head, so of course I had to go with it. And to match with the triangular pattern her outfit was gonna have, I decided to give her some triangle-shaped earrings as well. And then I thought to myself that this marker set, it has a silver and a gold metallic marker, so why waste the potential? And that is exactly why I decided to give this character lots of jewelry and accessories, because what could be better than picking up a drawing and looking at the golden or silver jewelry just shining and looking so elegant and beautiful. And that's exactly why she has so much jewelry, because for once I remembered to give the character jewelry. And once I was almost done with the sketch, I decided to map out the triangle pattern on the character's outfit, which was fun, but at the end I completely changed up the pattern and went with a different type of design on the outfit, but you'll find out more about that later. And now, just for a change of pace and for a little surprise, we are going to be working on this drawing here. Now don't worry if you're confused, I'll fill you in. So last year I made a video trying out a different set of Ohuhu acrylic markers, and in that video we colored in these gorgeous desserts, but I was also meant to color in this jellyfish, but I kind of ran out of time, which is fine because we've got the sketch ready and now we've got our markers ready. So then of course, according to the law of acting in the moment and the logic of me, I think the only sensible thing that we can do is to go ahead and color in this drawing and enjoy it because it was very satisfying to color in. And as I'm doing that, I'm also going to be talking about my thoughts and opinions on both of these marker sets. So let's get started. Now let's begin with the Ohuhu Nahuku markers. So firstly, I love the color variety in this set, and I also love that the markers have brush nibs because I found them to be easier to blend with. As you can see me doing right now with the dark purple and light purple, I found the brush tips to be just a little more easier for me, and I personally prefer them as well. The brush nibs were also just really flexible and nice to work with, and I also love how on the side you can see how much ink is left in the marker. I'm also a very big fan of the simple activation process because while activating markers is satisfying, it is also slightly time consuming, especially if you have a bigger set of markers. So when it's something like this where you just get to shake your marker and use it instantly, I feel like it just saves a lot of time, which is something I definitely appreciate. Also love the packaging of the markers because it's just like so versatile and it just feels so lightweight. So if you're traveling with these markers, it's just really easy to carry them around and just pop them in your bag. Super simple, super easy, and very much lightweight. And I also like how there's 3 different types of swatch cards, one in black, one in white, and one printed. It's definitely very handy. But aside from all that, I think one thing that would be nice to see is if this marker set had just a couple more skin tones, which I know would be nice for someone like me who tends to draw people more often, But at the same time, it makes sense because this is a 24 color set. It's not like a skin tone set or a portrait set, so that's why there's not many skin tones in there, but it would be nice just to see a couple more. But overall, I am pretty happy with the color variety because you can do quite a bit with all the colors you get in the set. And also, these markers are really easy to layer with. I also found them to be really opaque, which is something that you definitely have to appreciate because usually with some marker brands, and specifically acrylic markers or paint markers, they're not that opaque, meaning that let's say you have a white marker and you're trying to use it on black paper, it usually kind of shows up semi-transparent and it ends up looking like a gray color. But with these markers, they worked really well, and even if sometimes it felt like it wasn't as bright as it could be, with a second coat, it looked absolutely perfect to me. So that's definitely something that I think is really good to consider. And that concludes all my thoughts for the Ohuhu Nahuku acrylic markers. And guess what? We're signing off this drawing, and I think we all know exactly what that means. We are done, and it is time for the grand reveal. Check it out. Okay, I was not expecting this drawing to turn out so good. I am so impressed, and I know this isn't like an accurate representation of a real life jellyfish, but it's just something from my imagination, and I'm personally very proud of it. And now moving on to our main drawing of the day, let's start working on this drawing right after we lighten our sketch. And now for this drawing, I did 2 quick thumbnail color tests, and I actually had 2 ideas to go with. The first idea was that I use every single color in the set and make something that looked super funky and kind of like retro classic, like 1980s type of vibe. And that was my first idea, and that basically meant giving our character rainbow hair, adding a rainbow background, and still keeping that triangle pattern on her outfit. And then my second idea was to go with something a bit more like classy and different to what I normally do, which is to use a lot of darker colors such as black and brown and also pink. And I was kind of debating my decision until the last moment, but then I ended up going with the second option, and for our character, I decided to color her in with mainly black, brown, and a couple of different shades of pink. So today I'm definitely stepping outside of my comfort zone and being a lot more experimental, so join me as we trust the process and see exactly how well this goes. Or how bad this fails. One of the above, definitely this or that. Also, talking about being experimental and trying new things, there's something else that I tried today, and that is using a paintbrush to blend out acrylic markers. And I have never ever seen anyone do this before with acrylic paint pens, and I have never tried it before personally. I've used my finger to blend before, but I've never tried using a paintbrush, so I thought I'd try it today, and I am surprised because it worked so well. All I had to do was lay down a base color and then use my color that I want to shade with, so the darker color, and then place the base color next to it one more time. And while they were wet, I just went ahead and blended with the brush, and it worked out amazing. Now I also used finger blending, which was pretty fun, but blending with a paintbrush gave me so much more precision and so much more confidence, and also just opened up a bunch of new doors and just gave me a new range of possibilities and different ways I can color and shade with acrylic markers. So that was pretty cool. Speaking of cool, how cool was that transition? Because I decided that if I'm going to be working on this drawing with a black and pink color palette, I might as well change the background to match. And that decision came not a second too late. So after rendering the face a bit, I went ahead and colored in the lips and added some blue eyes for our character because I wanted it to match the blue background I had planned in my head. And now the hard part for me was to figure out the exact way to color her hair because I wanted to go with a dark brown color. But as I started coloring, I ended up with something that looks more like a warm ginger brown kind of color. And that wasn't exactly what I wanted, so I decided to just go ahead and completely cover it up and start again, which is definitely one of the best things about acrylic markers. So I was unsure of exactly what to do, so I thought the best thing I can do at this time is to just cover up everything with a black marker and figure it out later, because that is a problem for future me, not current me. And then I started working on the eyes and the face, And afterwards, I had an idea, and the idea was to go ahead and lay the brown marker on top of the black base that I had added, because that way maybe it would create the illusion of having like a dark brown hair color. Maybe, at least fingers crossed. But it definitely really helps though. Like if you're unsure about the process or you just don't know what to do next, take a break, step away, or just work on a different part of the same drawing and you'll get some new ideas. You'll get some new solutions in your head and then you can work through the problem. You don't have to rush at it and you don't have to fix the problem immediately or as soon as it arises. You can take a break, you can step away, and when you come back, you will come back with a better and smarter idea. Exactly like I did. And if it still really seems to bother you, I'd recommend just stepping away from it for at least a day, which is what I did. And when I came back the next day with a brand new mindset and a fresh new set of eyes, I felt like I knew exactly what I had to do. And from that point onward, it is just as simple as doing two things. First thing being trust the process, and second thing being trust your heart, because after all, at the end of the day, it's just a drawing and the best thing that you can do is enjoy the process. And the worst thing you can do is to be scared to try. So just try, just go for it, and let's see what you get. For example, I did exactly that and I ended up with something I'm so proud of. I got the perfect color that I was looking for and I managed to use black and brown to get exactly what I wanted. And after that, I used some pink, actually 3 different shades of pink, to create a nice blended gradient for the rest of the hair, and then I used another pink marker and the first 3 to go ahead and add some details on top. And by the way, as we work on the hair, I'm going to take this chance to share my thoughts about the second Ohuhu acrylic marker set that we unboxed, the one with 24 colors and 48 markers. Now the first thing I love about that set is the fact that you get 48 colors, but 2 different nib sizes. I think that's really cool because you can use the round nib to fill in larger spaces and use the fine nib to add some finer details, which is definitely very handy. Another thing that I personally like is how the markers are labeled with actual color names rather than just like random numbers. For example, instead of the yellow marker being Y something something something, it's actually sunshine yellow. Because for me, I just prefer it when it's like that. It just makes it more easy for me to recognize markers. So yeah, that's like a personal preference thing. Other than that, in terms of the actual functionality of the markers, I think they worked really well on black paper. They were really opaque and they showed up really well. And also, I am absolutely a humongous fan of both metallic markers because they worked really well and they're super shiny and mesmerizing to look at. It's pretty cool that you get the same color repeated because obviously if one marker runs out, you'll always have another marker as backup. But just one thing to consider is that this marker set is a little more heavier and a little more bulkier to travel with compared to the Nahuku markers, but that's obviously because this marker set comes with more markers inside, which is cool. And I think that maybe if the markers were organized a bit differently, it might be nice, because on one side you have the round tip markers at the top, and then when you flip it, they're at the bottom, and then in the next section they're at the top again, and then they're at the bottom again, which can become a little confusing until you get the hang of it and just understand the way they're organized. But yeah, other than that, I think the marker set is definitely really great. I love the fact that they've included a black swatch card, a white swatch card, and a printed swatch card. And also, another thing I like is the illustration on the front of the packaging of the chameleon. I think it's so adorable and so cute. And those are all my thoughts about that marker set. And now I think it's time to announce the special emoji of the day. So if you have managed to watch this video all this way, and I mean 23 minutes and 39 seconds without skipping or fast forwarding, you are truly amazing and it really means a lot to me. And if you'd like to let me know that you made it all this way, feel free to comment this emoji down below. Thank you so much once again. And now, back to our drawing. I decided to give our character a simple white jumper with some gray shading, and something that happened completely unexpected and completely unintentional, but something I'm so happy did happen, was this. So when I blended out the hair earlier, I used the paintbrush, right? And I hadn't cleaned it yet, so it had some pink left in it. So when I was coloring this jumper, I added some gray and some white, and as I was trying to blend them out, I saw a bit of pink pop in there. And that's when I realized it was coming from the brush. And it gave me such a cool airbrushed effect. Like, look at that. You get gray, you get pink, and then you get white. And it looks so cool, but it was completely unintentional and completely unexpected. Nevertheless, I'm not complaining because I love how it looks. The pink tint definitely matches the pink vibe of this drawing, and it's just so subtle but so perfect. And now it's time for your daily dose of satisfying marker sounds.
Awesome.
Now, I was so skeptical about whether I wanted the background to be blue because I could not decide for the life of me. Initially, I did want it to be blue, that's why I made the character's eyes blue, but then I ended up really changing my mind and I was going to go for a purple, then I thought about going for brown, then I thought about black, then I thought about pink, but I was like so unsure. Then I thought about rainbow, but then, anyways, I ended up going with black. And just like that for the jewelry, I started with silver and then I changed my mind and I made it gold instead. And I guess I just reached that point of where you're like almost done with your drawing and you can't decide what you want to do next because subconsciously you don't want to be done with your drawing yet. You still want to keep working on it, but at least we are done. It was a bit sad to stop this drawing because I had so much fun working on it and making it, but at least I'll always have this video to look back at. And to help me out with my finishing touches, I used this random pink pencil that I've been using all the time to add some shading and just some details and touch-ups here and there to bring the drawing together. I also used my black ballpoint pen to also just tie everything together. And soon enough, I was almost done with the process. And it was kind of bittersweet, like I said before, because I just wanted to keep on working on this drawing. But at the same time, I'm proud of how it turned out. And I had a great time working on it, so that's what really matters. And now here is the grand reveal. What do you think? I absolutely love how this drawing turned out. I could not have asked for anything better. As always, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd also just like to take this chance to send out a very big thank you to Ohuhu. I had a great time using these acrylic paint pens and I will definitely be using them again in the future. If you'd like to get a 10% discount on the Ohuhu website, make sure to use the coupon code mentioned in the video or check the description to see the coupon code as well as links for the products as well. And for anyone who managed to watch all this way, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me and I hope you guys like this drawing as much as I do. And also this jellyfish, I think it's just so cute. I'm obsessed. Anyways guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a fabulous day. Stay awesome as always, and I'll see you all in the very next video. Until then, stay happy and keep sparkling. Bye!